Wow. I'm just so full of love. Compassion, passion, solidarity, respect. Wow. You know, if you're sitting near a comrade of a certain generation, my generation, and they have just a big grin on their face, and you know, and they're beaming, and you know, and acting a little giddy, like they want to dance or something, and like just don't know what to do with themselves, you know. It's because this conference is self-evident, it's transformational. Everybody can see that not only have new revolutionaries come into the party, serious, talented, brave, multinational, multi-gender, multi-everything revolutionaries come into the party. They've taken ownership of the party. And I don't want to dwell on this. I don't want to get, you know, we'll all start crying and later, you know. I can't tell you how much that means to all of us who have been in the party 20 years, 30 years, 40, 50, even 60 in some instances. It is a validation of our work. It is a validation of what we chose to do with our life. We could have done other things, but we chose to do this. Through the good and through the bad times. And now we see that this is validation, you know. And whatever the future holds for us as individuals, and it holds a lot, we say, wow, it was worth it. We knew it was worth it. Maybe we didn't need this kind of validation. We're serious communists, and our understanding of communism and the world and history and the potential, the inevitability of revolution would be enough to hold us together even if there were 5 people and they all were the same age. But this helps. A young comrade, Richard from Memphis, Tennessee, was talking to me just a few minutes ago. He had some questions, you know, what does the party think about the Maoist movement and Stalin and Trotsky and so forth, you know. And it was a good conversation, short conversation, but it's the reason why I raise it. All of the struggles that went on in the communist movement years ago are of great importance, and there's a lot that we can learn from it. But we don't base ourselves on those struggles now, because that was then, and this is now. If you want to study the third period and the differences and why groups, I mean, the communist movement is the process of groups splitting and joining and splitting and joining, and you know, you know, if you want to study it's good, especially if there's some relevant lesson that can be discerned. But the party took a position on this question right after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and it was Sam Marcy. And by the way, you know, my comrade Teresa is so generous and flattering. You know, I just want you to know that I am not insane, and I'm not Lenin, you know. What I am, the best of me anyway, is Sam Marcyite. Everything of value that I've learned, and I'm a Fred Goldsteinite. I'm a Deirdre Griswoldite. I'm a, you know, Exactly, Milt Neidenbergite, Dottie, anything that I've learned that has helped me have come from these comrades. They're the best of me. There's the worst of me too, just like there is in all human beings. But the best of me has come from these comrades. And it is gold, it is rock, it is steel, it is impenetrable, and it gives my life, and I'm not the only one, value and importance, and in what makes me a revolutionary. Sam Marcy went to a conference, I think in Brussels. Is that right? Belgian Workers' Party, maybe, well, right. And his contribution to that conference was this. This was, the collapse of the Soviet Union. Oh, what catastrophe, world-changing setbacks. Silver lining, he was looking for a silver lining. Well, those of us who have called ourselves this or that and are still fighting something that happened, Khrushchev and the split, well, we don't have to forget all that. But you know what? At least what has just happened has given us a new opportunity to reset. So why don't we just push that aside and figure out how communists can unite based on what is happening now? And the big picture is rebuilding the communist movement. So our advice is debate all that stuff that happened. It's fine, and if it's helpful, but don't get stuck in any of that. Look forward. Learn from the past, but look forward. Not the other way around. I want to say a little bit about unity. Unity, bourgeois liberal unity, petty bourgeois, well-meaning unity. A lot of it's in the movement, versus revolutionary proletarian unity. And I underscore revolutionary because they're parties, left parties, do good things, but they may not agree with me or may not even understand what the hell I'm saying. Like some of the groups that attack so-called identity politics and all that. Or some of the groups that, why are you raising black and brown? And, that's just divisive and we're all together and, right? Whatever, Well, bourgeois and petty bourgeois unity. I'm not polemicizing against any group or any individual. I'm trying my best to make an objective observation. Their unity is superfluous. It's on the surface. Because it's not deep. It's not based on any deep revolutionary objective, an understanding of what social base you represent. See? And so how they deal with unity is based on circumstances or what side of the bed they got out of. It can be based on, the trans and queer people are pressuring us, so we better say something good about them or else they might tear up the meeting. The black and brown people are yelling and it's a crisis, give them a concession, otherwise, or guilt, you hear speech of what it's like to be oppressed, and for a moment you're touched by it, and and that's all good. That's good stuff, but it changes. That guilt is no basis for a political position. Now, revolutionary proletarian unity, that comes from what we call materialism. Say that. Yeah. See, that comes from a deep understanding that our class needs each other. We cannot succeed in our revolutionary goal without uniting our class. But it's even more than that. Anybody can say that. That sounds great. But I'll tell you, a lot of people hear that And if you're trans, queer, black, immigrant, and they say, well, it sounds good, but it sounds a little suspicious. You know, that like if I don't just, don't talk about what I am and my oppression, and let's just get behind this class thing. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I interpret that as someone going, because that's the way we'll all be united. Just talk about class. I am a champion of class. Again, whatever's good about me has everything to do with class. But here's where the revolutionary and proletarian unity comes in. And it's the reason why Lenin proposed that the slogan be changed from workers of the world unite to workers and the oppressed unite. Because he explained to his comrades at the turn of the century that we will not be able to succeed in overthrowing capitalism unless we unite with the oppressed. Not only unite with them, lift them up. And when necessary, subordinate ourselves to them being lifted up. And that is how you cement solidarity in our class. It is self-serving in the long run. It has nothing to do with individualism or how I feel or blah, yada, yada, yada. Revolutionary communists are imperfect as humans are. But the best of us understand this. It's in our marrow. That's why we can fight each other, but be comrades the following day. That's why we can, I don't even want to speak to that person like that. I don't even want to speak, but that's my comrade. And that comrade has got my back. And we're united based on materialism and science and the desire for revolution. And we're comrades, and nothing is a stronger bond than that. But it's this understanding that makes it possible. It makes it possible. Finally, the obvious. I mean, as we're talking here, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people have been in the street for the 1, 2, 3, 4, for the 5th day. We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything like this. We got a lot of problems. It's a difficult, confusing period. We haven't completely analyzed it. We got to see more fallout. What is Trump going to do? Forget Trump. How about the racists that he has empowered? What are they going to do? We know what they're doing. But we do know this. And this is good news. And for any of you, we won't call you out, any of you who secretly and privately were saying, maybe he should get elected, because that will make people angry and push them in a revolutionary direction, which would be a bad position to have taken a week ago or 2 weeks ago, for reasons that I think are obvious to all of us. Trump is radicalizing our class. Trump is radicalizing our class. There's fear. There's inconsolable sadness, but there's also anger and rage. And it's in the streets. And the rest of the world, bourgeoisie, is looking at it, and they're going, ugh. And the markets are looking at it, and they're worried about it. And the talking heads on CNN and MSNBC and Fox, they're talking about it. And in the background, you see the pictures of the young people marching. And, we prefer not to say Trump, love versus Trump, revolution versus Trump, whatever. It's a sign. It's radicalizing people. It's opening up their mind. Now people who just thought that the Democrats were as good as you could get, they're open to other things. And here's the thing. First of all, we have to join these struggles. We're in this room, we need to be here, but as soon as possible, we need to be in the streets. We need to recruit. And it's not just, this is not just based on organizational selfishness. This is an understanding that as a revolutionary party that's trying to play a role in this movement, in our class, that's trying as best as it can, we are obliged to recruit other communists. We're obliged to do it. It's the only serious thing to do. If we fail to do it, we have to question our existence. Because maybe someone else is more prepared to do it than we are. And I understand, Comrade Lone, being an, I'm down with that too. That's not I'm not contradicting that. But I'm just saying the way it is. If we're going to try to play a role and try to provide some leadership, how uneven and imperfect it might be, then we have no other choice than to recruit. Everybody knows that is thinking clearly and has a little sense of history and the size of groups, knows that there will come a point where revolutionaries who are not necessarily in the same organization will have to unite, not just against fascism and racism, but for socialism and revolution. We know this. We're not, not to know this is you might as well get a box and write sectarian fool on it. And just go in that box and curl up, whatever. But here's the dialectic of it, comrades. In order for Workers' World Party to be a worthy partner in the alliance with somebody else somewhere down the road, I'm talking about separate from recruiting revolutionaries on the ones and twos, we must be a strong party. We must be a strong party. Otherwise, what do we have to bring to the table when that time comes? I don't know if I want to end on this note, but because it's something that Richard asked me, young Richard from Memphis. I'm going to say it. We don't address this usually. He asked me about the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm not going to give a talk about that. But there may come a time when we have to. I'll say this, and I'll say this. It's hypothetical because the conditions for what I'm about to say, whether they exist or not, is another question. See? If there was, whatever happened and why and all of that, and it was dumb and it hurt the movement, and let me shut up because I don't want to stick my foot in something, go down a road I didn't plan to walk down. But if there was a basis for reuniting with those comrades who left this party, Workers' World would be the first party to explore it. I'm not making an assessment of PSL and their leadership and what their positions are. I don't follow it that much. What I know, other comrades tell me about, and that's why I'm speaking hypothetically. If there was a basis for a reuniting of former comrades who split, and it wouldn't be the first time in history that it's happened. It wouldn't be the first time. And new people who have come in who weren't around and had no knowledge of what the hell happened 12 years ago. See, we would take it up seriously. Why? Because you may be mad at some folks. You may have gone through something. You may feel betrayed, stabbed in the back. It's all understandable. It's personal. It just makes your skin crawl, and you can't look at people. It splits are nasty. You don't want to see people. It's not just defriending them. But here's the point. A party that's truly revolutionary, a working class party, must, and this is a measure of how revolutionary they are. One measure, not the only one, but one. Their feelings are legitimate, but it never gets in the way of what is in the interest of the world working class. It never gets in the way of the right thing to do. Because if it did, that would be another reason to say, for XYZ reason, we are no longer able to play a revolutionary role, so we will step aside and other people should do it. You know. And with that, comrades, great conference, you know, us veterans in the party, we're not stepping down, we're not retiring, but we are stepping aside. We're stepping aside so that a generation can step up and take over. Because that's the only way. It's the only way you find out. We'll advise, we'll help. But you know what? It's a cliche. You have to make your own mistakes, and you have to have the opportunity to do it. But I think it'll be the opportunity to build revolutionary socialism. Thank you.